Hello, my name is Brianna Terry, and in this video I will be discussing special education laws, giving a brief overview of special education and how it evolved, and shedding light on two court cases that implemented special education in the change for students. So prior to the 1970s, there was little to no support for students who needed these specialized services. And because of that, a lot of students were denied a general education. So in 1965, there was an act known as the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, or ESEA, which was provided for students of low income. So there were free and reduced lunches for students who were from families of low income. There was a congressional investigation in 1972, which was launched to investigate the status of children with disabilities to ensure that they are granted the proper education. There was the Vocational Rehabilitation Act, also known as the 504, which was launched in 1973, which was a federal law passed that approved grants for states for student services, for support services for all disabled students. So students who are in the special education field have many, many different support services that they may need. Some support services such as speech therapy or occupational therapy. The 504 Act was passed so that each school can have money and funding to provide these services for students in special education. FERPA, which is the Family Educational Rights and Privacy, was a federal law that protect the privacy of student records. Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, also known as IDEA, was a law that made available free and appropriate public education to children with disabilities. The IDEA governs how states and public agencies provide early interventions, special education, and related services to more than 6.5 million eligible infants, toddlers, children, and youth with disabilities. One court case that I am going to briefly speak on is the Park and Mills, which dealt with the exclusion of children with mental retardation from public schools. There was two parts of the Parks and Mills case. Excuse me. The first part was the park, which dealt with the exclusion of children with mental retardation from public schools, and it was agreed that educational placement decisions must include a process of parental participation and a means to resolve disputes. The Mills the Mills portion of this act, this case, involved the practice of suspending, expelling, and excluding children with disabilities from public school districts. So this case was for the sole protection of students in special education classes to ensure that they were granted with the appropriate education to support every need that they need and to not be mistreated or mistaught in these in a public school. The Public Law 94-142, which is also known as the Education for All Handicapped Children Act of 1975, was intended that all children with disabilities would have a right to an education, and to establish a process by which state and local educational agencies may be held accountable for providing educational services for all handicapped children. Some resources for parents, guardians, to get more information on these acts and to read up on more cases that had a huge impact on special education can be found on www.rightslaw.com. Some can be found on the Department of Education website, www.nj.gov/education/special ed for all New Jersey parents and residents. And the very last resource, or web link, I should say, can be found at www.ed.gov/policy/gen, which is GEN/GUID/FPOO/FERPA/index.html. Thank you.